Sick.
Sick.
That is not going to work for sure.
No.
Right? Like, there's no way it's going to upload. I'm going to be able to sync the voice to it. And
We got another minute video.
It's going to actually work.
Not with that attitude.
Growth mindset. Okay. Hey. We're back.
You're back.
I published the other one today.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Which one?
The social media one. It's up.
Oh, wow. It was a while ago.
Yeah, that was a while.
Don't tell the people.
I mean, we did that yesterday.
just did that, yeah.
We just did that. If you guys haven't heard our other podcast on social media stuff, go take a look at that.
It's brand new.
Give it a listen.
It's fresh.
Brand new. Do us a favor while you're there. Give us a 5-star rating and review. I heard another person say to do that, and so I'm going to start saying it now.
Oh, you know that the platform we put it on, you can do that?
On iTunes.
Okay. Just making sure.
I don't really know that. I don't know what I'm doing.
I mean, yeah, do that.
Hey, but we are back, and this podcast will now be taken over by Brett.
And officially welcome back.
Hey, thanks.
Yeah, because you just came back welcome back to America.
America. Gosh, dang it.
So this one we want to talk about your guys' experience and things you noticed differently comparing to sanctionals versus regionals versus games versus competing in America versus competing internationally.
Right on.
All that kind of good stuff. So we thought, I'm sure a lot of people are kind of curious, hey, how was it? What do you guys think? What's your experiences? So we thought we'd just kind of talk about that and kind of lead in with that.
Awesome. So Brazil recap.
Brazil CrossFit Championship recap. Let's talk about main thing just for starting off, travel. What do you guys think of how was the travel going internationally versus taking an hour flight down to San Diego or to Madison, or I mean not to Madison, but to Carson? What do you guys think?
I've done some pretty stressful stuff on my body in my lifetime and on my mind, and that plane ride was up there.
Now, your plane ride, you left from San Francisco to
LA,
Los Angeles,
and then LA to Sao Paulo.
So the flight from LA to Sao Paulo, how long was that flight?
12 hours.
Mm-hmm.
12 hours.
12 hours. And I had like an exit row seat with like ample leg room, and I was still super uncomfortable the whole time. At one point, I walked back to go to the bathroom, and these guys got 3 seats right next to each other, and Natalie and Kelly, so picture this, you're on a seat on an airplane, and you're facing forward, looking at the seat in front of you. They had gotten out of their seat, turned around, gotten on the ground with their knees like this, and were asleep on the seats like this with their knees on the ground.
Knees on the floor.
And I was like, genius. That's fucking genius. And so I go to the bathroom, and I come out. I'm like, I'm going to do that. And I get back over, and I do it, and I lay down, and like within seconds, tap on my shoulder.
Well, yeah, because you're in an exit row.
Yeah, they're like, sir, you can't do that. And I'm like, okay, fine, thanks. I'll go ahead back to my seated position. I just feel like dog pooping.
We were like so hidden.
Yeah.
So hidden.
Yeah.
And where was Connor then?
He flew with his family.
Oh, okay, so he was in a different flight.
Yeah, he left the same day, but he flew to Texas
Dallas,
and then Dallas and then to Sao Paulo from there with his fam.
What airline do you guys fly?
American?
United.
American.
I don't know.
American Airlines. We were on American Airlines.
We were on American Airlines.
Yes.
Were you able to watch like movies on the flight so you can kind of pass time a little bit that way?
Yeah,
Sure.
It was just like for people who are used to, if you're used to moving and standing all day and not in a seated position all the time, like it was pretty uncomfortable. Just gnarly. You just don't want to sit that long. You know what I mean? So things started getting really stiff and tight. And so you stand up and move around, all that stuff. But that was pretty gnarly, that 12-hour flight.
Was it the longest flight you've ever had?
No. The flight to Afghanistan was the longest flight I've ever had. Okay. Yeah, that was.
And a little bit different, I'm sure.
16 hours, and like 12 hours of it was on a C-130. Mm. That's a shitty flight. But it didn't bother me back then, which is funny. I wonder what that, back then it was like, oh, no big deal. I don't know why.
Nat?
I had, leading up to Brazil, I was sick for a week. So I had, some sort of stomach virus that was like pretty bad. Yeah, it was pretty bad. I was very nervous about being on an airplane before that because stomach viruses and airplanes don't seem like the best experience. So I had like built it up. I was like, oh my gosh, this is just going to be crazy. And I ended up like feeling a little bit better on the flight. So honestly, I was just happy to not be in the state that I was in the week before that. Yeah. So I think I was just happy because I had expected to feel pretty crappy. And then my stomach started to feel better like as we got into Brazil. So I was like, okay, maybe I'm okay. So it wasn't too bad. I've flown a lot back and forth from Africa.
That's right.
So
your cup's in the long flights.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. It wasn't too cool. Crazy.
What was the experience at Brazil at the venue itself? I mean, you're now competing in a venue in Brazil. They don't speak English. They speak Portuguese. Mm-hmm. Talk about the venue itself. Like, how were the accommodations? How were things there at the venue itself? And how was it? What was it like when you're coming in from a foreign country and you're not speaking their native language? Did they have somebody there that was able to communicate with you guys in English, or were they just like pointing and saying, go there?
No, yeah, they had English speakers. And actually, it was funny. I was really surprised every day when we would show up for the briefing for the day, they did the briefing in English, and they had translators for Portuguese and
Portuguese.
Spanish and Portuguese, yeah. And I thought it'd be the opposite, right? Like either they'd be speaking in Portuguese and then they'd have somebody there for us.
They probably looked at how many competitors there were and which were English speakers, and they probably just went off of necessity of how many there were.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was no problem. And they had like people in the back area too. Like one of the guys, Shay, was just amazing all weekend.
Shay, if you're listening, come to France with us.
Seriously, he was a man. That guy was amazing.
What was Shay's role?
He was just like athlete
liaison.
Okay. Like literally, we'd ask him any question, he'd be like, "I'll be right back," and he would like sprint away.
He was so awesome,
and then come back like sweating and like for like a simple question of when's athlete briefing tomorrow or something like that. You know, it was awesome. Yeah, and the director for the competition was Yopes, and he's a flow master on the level 1 staff, and he's been dealing with regionals like from a head judge's perspective and helping with those things for a long time. And so it was top notch, like at the actual venue and everything. It was, if not better than regionals, right there with every regionals I've ever been to.
Oh,
wow. It was awesome.
How were the judges and everything?
Great.
Yeah. It felt like a regional scenario. There were times when they were counting in Portuguese and in English occasionally.
Oh, really?
You could tell they would get to the point where they didn't know how to keep counting in English. Like I can count to 10 in Spanish, but I can't go past that. And so they would do that, and then they would start speaking Portuguese, and I'd get lost, and they'd get lost, and I'd look at them, and they'd look at me, and we were both just like,
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
They just point to a number on the thing?
It ended up working, but it was fun. That was funny.
Wow.
Yeah, you just got to keep track in your own head.
Yeah, but they were great. It seemed like we kind of had a lot of the same judges in that last heat. Like, we got familiar with the faces. It was fun. Everyone was so nice. It's like super nice.
That's cool.
It was funny. The one thing that people brought up was when they interviewed us after the swim, one of the first questions they asked us was if the water was cold. I thought that was so funny. I was like, you don't know how to interview after a swim, and that's okay. The water wasn't that cold.
I was going to say, was the water cold?
No, the water wasn't that cold. It mostly just a joke, but it was fun.
That's cool. Equipment-wise, everything was pretty much all Rogue, or was it? Did they have
Fortify?
No, yeah, it's Fortify. I guess that's like their Rogue down in southern.
Fortified.
Yeah, Fortify. So everything was awesome. No problems with any of it.
Interesting. How was your now with regards to travel and going to again foreign country food? Let's talk about that. How did you guys do with the food? Did you?
Yeah, I mean, I was super nervous about it going into it, but their grocery stores are just like here, and everything was the same. And we actually found a couple restaurants that had like menus in English and pretty good stuff, and we just kind of stuck to those two once we finally found them. It took a couple days to find them, and like we definitely were kind of like trying to figure out what to do for a couple days. But once we found these like other two restaurants, we just stuck with those two. And the real to the dollar is like 4-1 or something like that, and so it was actually cheaper for us to eat out than it was for us to like go to the grocery store and make our food every single day. So we just went to those two spots most of the time.
Yeah, you had a couple times where you're having like a package of meat, and you're like, "What is this?"
Oh yeah, yeah. They have a lot more like heart and liver and lungs and like gizzards and all sorts of the stuff on the body that we probably wouldn't eat here in America, that it was like just common in the meat section there. So we had fun with Google Translate trying to figure out like, what is this piece of meat? And we'd be like, this is a heart. And we're like, oh, okay. Don't get that. Got it.
Yeah. I think we had planned a little bit more to eat in and to prepare our food. But I think when we realized our accommodations weren't really going to facilitate that, we kind of switched gears. And like Wes said, because it was affordable to eat out, we sort of we leaned on that. We made breakfast every morning and like stuck to that. But for the most part, it was pretty difficult to cook where we were. I think we made a few dinners and we got decent at it towards the end, but we ended up feeling a little bit more comfortable eating out. There was we went to a gym when we were there, which Joe at Coast Range hooked us up with a gym. He's from Sao Paulo. Yeah. And so he hooked us up with a gym out there and it was incredible.
CrossFit Moema.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
CrossFit Moema. And then Vivian, a now good friend of ours, hooked us up with a place to eat. They have this place next door to that gym that's like a buffet style with pretty clean food. It had a ton of vegetables, and then it had a section for carbs, like rice and sweet potatoes, potatoes, and then it had all of the protein stuff. It was really rad.
It looked like what you would do meal prep wise if you like ideally every week, you'd have your salad stuff and your veggies and then your carbs and then your proteins and in a straight line, and you just went through and just
with the plate
all you could eat.
It was awesome. Yeah. And it wasn't like my meal prep, which is pretty bland. It doesn't taste great.
In an ideal world, meal prep too.
It was beautiful.
Yeah, it's smoked meat and it was awesome.
It was really cool. So we spent a lot of time at the gym. And so we were able to eat there a lot and kind of meet some people in that community, which was great.
Yeah, the VRBO pictures or Airbnb pictures that they take of these places that you think you're going to stay in are they really make it look nice. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the place was not bad by any means, but it was a lot smaller than we thought it was going to be.
Way smaller than we expected.
So that was the big thing, was that it was smaller than you thought?
Dude, the kitchen stove was the size of that mini fridge over there, and it felt like that.
Yeah.
Really?
Super janky and couldn't get it to light 90% of the time, and all we kept smelling was gas.
Yeah. It was good.
Turn the gas off.
We should unplug the gas and make sure it wasn't leaking. It was
and so it was
funny.
It was kind of a pain in the butt to try to cook, and so we'll make adjustments in France for sure,
because we probably, thinking about it and researching it, will probably need to eat and cook at home in France because it's going to be a little bit more pricey there.
Yeah, it's the same. It's 99 cents to every dollar, so it's going to be just as. And the Women's World Cup is going on in France during the same time.
Oh, gosh.
So everything
flights are up.
way
Everything's
more
a little bit more expensive.
Airbnbs are all super expensive. So,
but you're not going to be in France, or you're not going to be in Paris. You'll be just
right
outside
outside
of it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. With regards to, you mentioned the stove being small in the place, how was the rest of the house? Was the beds, were they smaller?
It was pretty crappy, dude. We didn't even have blankets for our beds.
They were really cheap.
They had sheets.
Oh, wow.
That was it. And so me and Connor slept under a sheet. Natalie slept on the couch out in the living room that folded out, but it was it was.
What was the weather like there?
Here.
Great.
Same.
Yeah, it was here.
It's their fall right now, and so it was kind of rainy and
it was pretty gloomy,
a little overcast and stuff, but not super humid or anything like that.
Okay, so, I was gonna say, because do you need more than just a sheet, or did you need?
No, it was all right.
It was fine.
It was fine.
Okay. Okay.
It's just not like you think of your ideal scenario, trying to set yourself up into perform at your highest athletic level possible. That was not there. That's all I'm going to say.
No.
Was there anything was there any kind of food or something that when you went to a restaurant and they brought it out and you're like, that's kind of weird? For me, when I went to Australia, they had beans in the morning, it came with the eggs and it was beans, or Vegemite. They used Vegemite. Was there anything like that in Brazil that you kind of found?
We didn't really get the opportunity to be very adventurous or go for straight up Brazilian cuisine. We tried to stay with more of what would benefit us and what we were used to. The last night we went out to a Brazilian steakhouse, and even then it wasn't.
But it's any Brazilian steakhouse you go to
right.
Here,
So it wasn't crazy. So I'd say, I mean, we didn't get adventurous, really. I think
their portions are a lot smaller.
Mm-hmm. Coffee smaller. And
yeah, you posted a bunch of photos. Everything was smaller.
Yeah, like even like a standard breakfast, like eggs and potatoes and stuff like that. Like the potatoes were like,
Just
here's your potatoes,
like
you know,
less than
and
a palm size.
I'm like, I want potatoes,
right?
You know, and so yeah.
What you said, and the coffees were small. Was it just were they espresso? Or was it just like a denser coffee?
Espresso.
Their norm is espresso.
Because I know like the Vietnamese coffee that's like really super strong, so you don't need a whole ton of it.
Yeah. What was it? It was you're supposed to say cafe fruta. Fruta or something like that, which means a coffee. Like, give me a big coffee. But we didn't find that out until like the second to last day.
Yeah, it's just like so not the norm. Yeah.
I just said 3 espressos.
I'm a big coffee person, and not like I don't drink a ton of coffee. I just drink really good coffee. And so I was actually really excited for coffee in Brazil just because it's fun, like finding new places, finding new coffee shops. But leading up to, with all the stomach stuff that was going on, I had stopped drinking coffee. So I hadn't had coffee in like a week and a half leading up to. And I was so bummed. And then when we got there, I was like still pretty nervous to try it. And then like midway through, I like went back on the coffee train.
We found that one place.
Yeah, we found a nice coffee shop that made like pretty cool, like high class, like they did pour overs and different methods of brewing coffee, which was like a little bit more comforting for me. So when I saw that, I was like, I think I'm going to drink coffee again. and my stomach was starting to feel better towards the end of the trip.
You should have seen Natalie's face like light up when we walked into that place, because there was like this really nice restaurant, but then in the back of the restaurant was like this huge coffee thing. They had like the whole wall was made up of coffee beans and stuff, and like it was like super hipster, like coffee shop and everything. And I saw right when we walked in, she was all like all excited and stuff, like sat down, and then they gave us a menu, and one side of the menu had English, and she was like, you know, it was like, we found gold.
It was so good. So we went there for coffee most mornings, which was good, or towards the end, at least when we were competing, we went there, so it was cool.
What was we talked about this a little bit before about you competing as a team versus individual. How was your training for that? How does that differ? Is one harder than the other? That sort of thing. If you can talk a little bit about that a little bit.
I think being on a team is much harder than competing individually. Competing individually, it's like, I don't want to train today, I'm not going to train today. I don't want to push as hard on this piece. Cool, I'll back off. Because really, it's just me who's going to suffer those consequences when it comes to actual competition. So if I didn't train enough, or I didn't train hard enough, or I didn't do the things I was supposed to do, then cool, that'll reflect on the floor, and it is what it is. And I just have to live with myself. But at the end of the day, on a team, if I'm the one holding the team back, right? And you probably saw that on one of the worm workouts where Natalie's like, tap me on the shoulder, 2 more reps, let's go. And I'm like, like dying, you know what I mean? And like, you have 3 other people that are literally counting on your level of fitness. And so if you back off in training, or you don't do the things you're supposed to do, you're not sleeping as much as you're supposed to be sleeping, or nutrition, that's going to show up, but in a team setting, which is way worse. And for me, at least, you know what I mean? Like, I do not want to let my team down. So this is the hardest I've ever trained. It's the most I've ever trained, and it's the best I've ever performed in a competition setting.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
It was cool. It was cool to hear Wes's like in the moment realizations of that, because like right after a workout, he like just hearing everyone's debrief is always fun, like what people are experiencing and how their experience is different than yours or the same as yours. And we got done with a couple workouts, and Wes was like, what the hell? Like, like that was so hard. Like that,
so
like
hard.
I haven't pushed like that before. Like,
wow.
So it's cool because I'm a team athlete through and through. And I think that might be why. Well, upon other reasons. But
it takes
like,
you to a different
but it's,
world.
I like the idea of pushing alongside other people, because I think that I push harder in that scenario.
Yeah.
So it was cool to kind of see his realizations of that, and like you learn stuff about people in those moments too. Like, whoa, I didn't know you could do that, or oh my gosh, like that was so cool, and it was cool.
Yeah, like I pride myself too on being an athlete that pushes himself to and beyond the limits. And like, I think within the CrossFit community, I'm known for that. Like I'm known for like going to dark places and and it shows, and you could see that. And so I think for me to say that like that competition took me further than I ever have before is really saying a lot. Like, cause I'm not somebody that backs off,
right?
And specifically in competition. And so there's one moment specifically where we finished this worm workout, and I just like collapsed on the finish. And I thought it was Kelly, but it's Natalie. She's laying on me like this.
Like we all collectively collapsed.
I felt like somebody threw me in a grave and put dirt over me.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, get off me. Like, oh my God, like I can't breathe. Like I'm in this tunnel, like I'm freaking out. And so I just shoved Natalie off me.
That was on the video. That was
like,
on
get the fuck off me. Like, oh my. And it's like, even after she got off of me, like I still felt like I was like being like covered and like smothered. And
Oh
I was
my
just
gosh.
Like, and it took me like 20 minutes after that workout to like recover. Mm-hmm. Like I found out something about myself. Yeah. Wow, I have another gear that I didn't even know was there. You know what I mean? Which sucks, man.
It's funny because last year at regionals, when the worm was introduced, 4-person worm, yada yada yada, and we did it was the thruster burpee workout, and it was like high rep, like 30, like 40 30 20, or I don't know, 40 40 40. It was dumb. It was hard. And it was the worst thing ever. And last year we were all like shorter, our squat pace was faster, it just like, and it buried me. Like it buried me. I crawled across the finish line, like not even exaggerating. Like I tried so hard to get over the finish line. Like I was just absolutely dead. And so I remember after last year, I was like, that can never happen to me again. Like I can't let that happen to me again. And so this year with the worm, like it was super cool to get out on the floor and realized that my level of fitness had increased. Like I could get I was a little bit more fit. I didn't have to like throw myself across the line. I could like actually walk my feet over the line.
It goes on the worm. It goes Connor, Natalie, me, Kelly. So Natalie's between Connor and me. And the whole time on every worm workout, she's got her hand on Connor going, it's going to be okay. And she's like encouraging me, like, we got 2 more. Come on, you got this. And it was just, that was like her job. Like she wasn't like blowing up. Her job was to like keep us mentally in the game. You know what I mean? She's like, you're okay, Connor West. We only got 2 more. Let's go. And we're both just like.
And that, by the way, that's not something we practice. Like we didn't know that that's like what Natalie was going to do. For the most part, Natalie just holds on for the ride and like does what she's told. But for some reason, that in the middle of like competition on the worm, I felt like I didn't want anyone to feel like I felt the year before.
Yeah, it was gnarly. It was cool though. But cool. Like competing on a team though, it's definitely, in my opinion, it's way harder but way more fulfilling if you actually put in the work and do the things you're supposed to do. It could be soul crushing, I think, if you didn't. Like imagine being out there on the floor and then being the one that held everybody back, and then we didn't make the games or we didn't get podium because of, wow, I would immediately think back to my training and think back to my nutrition and think back to my sleep and think of all the things I didn't do. And so Megan even said it leading up to this one, she's like, I've actually never seen you this dialed in. Because usually like I get super in my head the closer we get to a competition. And it's like all of the expectations and everything start coming down on top of you. And then, you know, I have the gym. And so I start thinking about letting everybody else down. And like, and then it materializes as I don't want to do this anymore. Like it comes out as like, I'm over this. I don't want to be an athlete anymore. I don't want to compete. I don't want to do this. And so I start like finding little things to not do that I normally would be doing, like raw mod or sleeping or eating well or doing all of my programming, and I'll just like kind of be like, I don't feel good today, so I'm not going to do that stuff. But really it's a representation of me just like letting the stress get to me, you know? And so I'm like, and then I end up not performing well. That didn't happen this time, which is weird because normally it will. And so from a physical standpoint in training and competing, I think it's harder being on a team because you have to push so hard and everything like that. But I think that the leading up to the competition and the desire and excitement to compete on the team was way better than it was as an individual. As an individual, it's like, man, spotlight's on you. If you fuck up, it's all you and everybody's counting on you and blah, blah, blah. But it's a whole team. And so as long as you put in that work, it's like it's on us to do it. My goal is just to be fitter than the other 3. So I'm the one in France going, come on, Natalie, 2 more. Like, we got it. Connor, you're doing good. You know, like that's all I want going into France is just to be a little bit fitter than the other 3.
And I think that, well, personally, what I forget is we all have strengths and we all have weaknesses. And I'm always the first to point out my weaknesses. And so I'll tell you all of the workouts I did really bad in. And I'll forget all the workouts that I do really good in. And I think that's good and bad. bad because it probably stresses me out more than I'm willing to admit, and good because it makes me focus on the things I need to work on. And like it drives me to work hard in the gym. But it's cool to see like the workout Wes is talking about where I'm like pulling people along. Like there are definitely workouts where they pulled me along, and there's workouts where we pulled Kelly along, and there's workouts where Kelly pulled us along, and same with Connor. And so that's the fun part for me, is like reminding myself like, I was on the bottom tier in this workout, but I can push back and be in the top tier on this workout. And there were like very stark examples of that, like in the midst of workouts too. And we did a lot of workouts that were like a workout, rest, another workout, and being able to do a workout, and in that 2-minute rest or 5-minute rest, whatever the rest is, being able to forget that workout and move on to the next workout. Like that's something that we actually did very good at. So it was cool to see that, and cool to remember that that's kind of what we are going for. We had a rule before we got there that I don't remember the length, but there was a certain amount of time that you're able to.
Everybody had their own length.
Yeah, we decided our length.
5 minutes.
No longer than 5 minutes to like wallow about the workout before. And once that 5 minutes hit, you were done. We're on the next workout. You're not thinking about that workout anymore. It was sped up a little bit for us because we were just workout, or like workout, rest. We're still on the floor, and then another workout. But it was cool to see the effects of that. Because if even the last 2 workouts right before the final, we didn't do 2 as hot as we wanted to do on the workout before, and if we all would have been thinking about that workout, we probably wouldn't have competed as hard as we did in the final.
Yeah, why push hard? We're already out. Who cares? You know what I mean?
Instead, we chose not to think about that workout and to really not think about anything but the final. And I think that benefited us, although I never want to win a final again and not win the event. Because that's like really, really heartbreaking.
Yeah, a lot of that was, I mean, I've got to give props from myself for the last like 6-7 years of competing with my coach Bob Fistro, who's been helping me with my mental game stuff, and then he helped the team as well leading into it. We did mental training every week on stuff like that, visualizing what we want to do, how we want to perform, and then doing stuff like that, like understanding you get X amount of time after a workout to be upset and to do whatever you want, but then once that time is over, now it's on. You're moving and you're going on the next thing. And he made us even like, we signed a contract before the event started on like what we would actually consider a successful weekend, and we had to verbally say it and like talk about what we would consider success, and then all agree on it, and then be like, okay, so now whatever happens, this is success. And we said for ourselves that it was, as long as we finish every workout knowing that individually we did everything we could to make the team better, then that's success. And at the end of the weekend, we can look back at every single workout and go, I did my part as an individual to raise the team up. So that doesn't mean necessarily performing my best as an individual. It means doing what I need to do to get the people to my left and right to perform their best. And we finish every workout like that, then we're happy. And that's where the we over me thing came in, is we made that motto of, okay, it's going to be we over me all weekend long. How can I make you and you better? And that was Natalie. It's okay, Connor. 2 more Wes. Like, let's go. You know what I mean? And and so that was actually really good for me going into every single event and being like, all I got to do is just go really hard. Whatever happens. Cool.
Right. I think I can get stuck on that. But that's why the motto was so great. Yeah. Like, that's why talking about it before every workout and like getting together, we did the dynamic every day the dynamic before every event, and we were kind of able to like regroup and talk like, we're grateful for this experience, it's we over me, and it gave us something to think about. Well, it gave me something to think about leading right into, which was really cool.
So Brazil's done. France is 3-4 weeks away.
3 weeks.
Any changes to your programming? Any things you're modifying or changing before you fly off to?
Yeah, for sure. So we've taken over our own programming. We're doing that now, which doesn't really change very much. Like, we're still keeping the same template that we had before when we were working with Seth at Misfit Athletics, because it was awesome and it worked really well. So we're keeping that same template, keeping the same volume, that kind of stuff, but just really like taking the stuff we learned from Brazil and adding that into the programming and drilling it and stuff, like quicker squats on the worm, stuff like that. Like our I think our volume is like we can handle volume really well, but like the pace needs to pick up.
Yeah.
For sure. And like if you watch us on film, the squatting pace of every other team compared to ours, I mean, they're probably 2-1 to us. But we are so steady and we work together so well as a team. And, you know, we were, how many times did we go through each workout before?
50,
like to the point where people were like I don't want to do this anymore. My brain
fried.
hurts, you know? And so we knew like all of that was alien, and the only way we can get better is like we have to move faster. And so, but Natalie killed us on Tuesday with some, or
I did not kill us.
I was really amazed that it didn't kill us, but like she had us do this. Okay. So imagine, all right. Here's the workout.
Freaked out.
Okay, imagine you read this on a piece of paper. And you have to, in order to appreciate this, you have to have been under a worm with people and like suffered to understand what that thing actually feels like. But here's the workout. Every 2 minutes for 20 minutes, you're going to do 10 worm squats as fast as possible and 4 touch and go clean and jerks. So a worm squat takes 3 to 4 seconds per rep. You know, like to accomplish. So think about that alone. So 10 worm squats times, let's just say 30. That's 30 seconds, right? And then 4 touch and go worm clean and jerks. So you're going to hang on to the worm. It's going to touch your ground. You're going to right back up to your shoulder, over, and then right back down up to your shoulder. You're not going to drop it, turn, take a breath, and pick it up. It's like you're going the whole time. And every single one of those reps takes about 3 seconds to maybe 4 seconds. So we're at about about a minute and 20, a minute and 30 seconds or whatever. And we're going to do that for 10 rounds. So 100 worm squats and 40 touch and go clean and jerks in 20 minutes. I saw that on paper and I said,
he freaked out.
I'm all, this chick's insane.
It was awesome.
She's insane. She's going to kill us, whatever. And we did just fine. It was awesome. And so it's so cool to have like Natalie's taking over all of the workouts. I'm taking over all of the endurance work, and I'm just pulling a ton of stuff I had from like Hinshaw back in the day that he worked with me in like 2013 and 14 and 15. Kelly's taking over the strength and accessory stuff, and Connor's doing the gymnastics work. And then we're all kind of coming together and making sure it all jives.
And then you're doing workouts?
Yeah, she does the pain.
Oh, so the Metcon stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's really cool to have, I think, like Wes said, what we were doing before worked. I mean, obviously, I think now the reason it's so beneficial for us to be behind the scenes and like working on the workouts and all of that stuff is we know what we're looking for. Like we know what we need, and making workouts like the one Wes just described, like it's all about figuring out what we can do pushing the barrier. And so I thought about what felt comfortable, and then I added reps to that because we need to right now see what we can do and how fast we can do it. And because we are not a team that's going to fall apart on the field. We will fall apart. Well, we didn't fall apart at all in that workout, I would say, but we'll find our threshold in training, and then we'll push it on the floor knowing we've ran through it 40, 50 times. So really this is a time to figure out what we're capable of, pushing our boundaries, and then making a plan when workouts are released.
Yeah, and like if you would have given me the job of doing the workouts, right? Like I would never do that on specifically a worm workout, because how did the worm feel for me in competition? Right. Absolutely miserable, right? And so I'm going to not like consciously hold back, but I'm going to hold back when I'm programming that thing because I know how bad it hurts. Right. But for somebody like Natalie, who it didn't hurt as bad when she was on it, she's going to program the opposite direction and try to make it hurt a little bit more.
I just want to let you know what our workout is tomorrow.
Oh,
it feels uncomfortable in my heart.
So that scares me even more.
It should,
right?
No, it really should. Like it's good. It's good. It's going to bring back like PTSD for me, which is good because I want us to feel that. I think those are things we're going to feel.
The thruster burpee workout.
Added chest to bars.
Nice, awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I do want to say like a really big thank you to Seth.
Yeah.
From Misfit Athletics it started out with like last year in April. I was like, hey, I'm going to try to go as an individual again, and asked him to program for me. And he was able to switch that up halfway through, and I was like, hey, I'm actually going to do a team. And he was super awesome. He's like, yeah, no worries, man. Awesome. Let's do the team stuff. And he switched up the programming, no problem, and did it. So big thank you to him for everything he did all year for us, for sure.
One question more I forgot. How is your support? I mean, you're in it from a foreign country, not in the States or anything like that. How is your support from family, friends, whatsoever? How is that different being in a foreign country versus being in the States? Or was it different?
For me, it was really tough. I've had Megan at every single competition I've ever done and been able to look up in the stands and see her and like, you know, give me that little push or something like that. And I didn't realize how much it affected me until she wasn't there. And it was like, whoa, like I figured out in Brazil why I compete. And it was literally because of her. Like it's the feeling, I don't know what it like stems from or anything like that, but it's like having somebody that you truly care about, like your wife or your mom or your dad or something like that, be at a sporting event and cheering you on and seeing them and having that physical connection between them in the moment you're on the field, and then being able to lock eyes with that person, and it gives you energy. It just does. You know what I mean? Because like it's like there's energy everywhere, right? And somehow she gives it to me, and her not being there, like I could feel it. Like it was weird. And even though like I won't specifically in competition as an individual, like look for her in the stands or lock eyes with her in every single workout or something like that. But it's there, and I didn't recognize it was there until it wasn't. And I was like, oh shoot. So she's coming to France. Yeah, for sure.
How about you, Nat?
It was really hard. I think I was already like leading up. I know I've mentioned it a few times, but I wasn't feeling top notch going into Brazil. And so I already was like kind of, my confidence was lacking. I was like, we were running through workouts and I was like, oh my gosh, like if I feel like this in Brazil, I might die. And it was already like, I was just down on myself a little bit leading up, and the team did a really good job of like trying to pull me out of it and making sure I didn't feel like that. And you know what you're capable of. And it was awesome, but it was super. I've never been away from Azariah for that long before. I was away from her for regionals last year. But that's like San Diego, you know, it wasn't far. And, this was the first time that I had been like fully out of the country for 9 days without her. And it was really hard. Like that was really hard. I think the last night I cried myself to sleep because its competition was over and I was like, I love you guys, but I don't really want to be with you anymore.
Yeah, totally.
Like during competition, it was like, yeah, sick. This is awesome. But by the last day,
even at night though, you know, like I felt like even like when we would get back to our room and stuff and we'd be like winding down, I'm like, yeah, I want to go home. I want to be with my family. And
it was hard. I'm a little different in that, like, I would love for Azariah to come to France. I think that'd be awesome. I've got a mom trigger though, where if she's in France and in the same place as me, she's my priority. Yeah. Like I can't turn that button off. And there's a lot of expectation team wise. Like we learned that we expect a lot from each other during that time. We expect to be focused on each other and focused on execution, and like we'll probably do better at it in France because we kind of know how to communicate a little bit better with each other, and we run through the workouts so much that like there's an understanding from loved ones, which I super appreciate, that like you're pretty zoned in.
Yeah, we're there for each other, not for our families.
Right.
Our families are just them being there should add to us being better. Like it's like just it's an enhancer. It shouldn't take away from what we're doing. And like I know Megan she understands that 100%, and I know Sam does 100%. And even Connor traveled with Rosemary and his mom, and they stayed in a separate Airbnb from us, and like he barely saw them all week. Like he saw them maybe a couple times all week, and it was like real quick because they understood. They're like, this is what you're doing. Like we can't take away from that. So
so I've just decided that we're not going to push to get Azariah there. I'll be mom. I won't be athlete if she's there, and I just know that about myself. I think 90% of mothers could probably agree that would be hard. And then Sam's going to try to come. I would so love that. It's just a lot to try to figure out and not working, and
it's not exactly cheap.
All of that stuff. It's I'm trying not to be stressed about it because I don't think we need the added stress. But I just like Wes, I figured out in that time that it would just be so glorious to have him there. It will be so great to have him there. So we'll see. But I will say that I felt the support from people. Like it was really awesome having, like, Connor's whole family was there, and Grayson was there, and being able to finish an event and not just look up to the crowd, but look up to like the people that had CRSC shirts on. Like, that was so comfortable. Like, it was always a joy of mine to look up and find them and like cheer with them, because it was like they were a representation of everything back home, which was so awesome. And like, there was one video I think Adelina posted of the 8:30 class watching on the computer. I was like, those things are so huge for me. Like, to just know that the people I love and support and am investing in, like, are supporting. It's super cool. So, and that there, Azrai watched a couple of the events and was like super into it. I was like,
cool.
This is cool. So,
JoJo flying out as well?
We are, yeah. She's coming out.
That's cool.
So cool.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
That's awesome. Do you want to do a quick shout out to your sponsors?
Yeah, we had some amazing help from a few sponsors specifically. Bear Complex has been huge this year in helping us out. Challenge Me Training. They're an app that you can download for free and challenge anybody on anything that you want, basically. It's pretty rad. It's like you have a group of people and you want to challenge them to max burpees in a minute, or max squat clean, or I got this time on a workout, like, see if anybody else can beat it, and like have fun challenges with it. It's a platform for that, and it's pretty freaking awesome. We used it for one of our challenges here between Coast Range CrossFit and Santa Cruz Central, and it worked out great. It was like a great way for people to see like leaderboards and what's going on with that kind of stuff, and it was super cool. We also had Gators Eyewears, who donated a couple pairs of sunglasses for our raffle basket. Sage Essentials, their CBD line, which is like CBD oils and creams and that kind of stuff. But then also she donated some stuff for her actual spa that she has. So Sage Spa, which is in Santa Cruz, and they have like float tanks,
massage,
saunas, all that kind of. It's like, if you want to work on your body physically and mentally, like, that is the most amazing place to go to in Santa Cruz, and she helped us out a ton. She gave us free product leading up to the event, so we got like CBD product and stuff leading up to it, and then also gave away a couple gift certificates for people in the basket,
baskets and stuff,
to go, which was super awesome. RX Smart Gear also hooked up people with some free jump ropes as well for the basket. Who else, man? God, we had other people too, and I'm missing out. Cat and Cloud donated.
We had Cat and Cloud.
Cat and Cloud donated.
Sport Kini outfitted Kelly and I in some bathing suits for the swim event, which was awesome.
Yeah. If you guys want to actually, right now, Cat and Cloud's going through a little bit of something that they shouldn't be. Caterpillar, the company that makes tractors and all that kind of stuff, is suing Cat and Cloud because their name has the word cat in it.
Yeah, it's a little bit more in depth than that, but yes, that's the gist.
Because it comes down to retail sales.
Right.
And they use the word cat in their retail sales, and cat has retail clothing like boots and all that other sort. And it doesn't make any sense. So if you want to support a small locally owned company, buy some Cat and Cloud coffee.
Or there's a petition you can sign. They're trying to kind of push back a little bit, but there's a petition you can sign if you go to their Instagrams. If you go to Cat and Cloud, I think it's Cat Cloud Coffee or Cat and Cloud Coffee. But if you go to their Instagram, it should be in their bio. I posted on mine too. I can put it in my bio as well. But you can go and sign that petition as well. Yeah,
but help them out.
Yeah.
They're awesome and great people too. CrossFitters, super cool people.
Exactly.
God, man. And then, I have all my sponsors too that have been amazing. Innovate has been awesome. Obviously, I've been with Innovate since 2013, helping with shoes, and they just hooked us up with our gym specifically and our coaches.
Oh, wow.
So our gym, if you're a member of Coast Range CrossFit, you can get 10% off anytime that you order Innovate. Come find me or talk to the coaches. We'll give you the code, and coaches get 40% off.
Ooh, yeah. I totally need more shoes, right, Beth?
So thank you, Innovate. You guys are awesome. Also, Fuel for Fire. They've been keeping me alive in competition settings since 2013.
We all had so many Fuel for Fires.
Yeah. It was,
not that Fuel for Fire sponsors me, but I also had a lot of Fuel for Fire on hand. Their new vegan, their dairy-free options.
Yeah.
Because I don't do dairy, and now I am a firm believer.
It was so funny, too. So I brought a bunch of Fuel for Fire with me, and at one point I was like, what happened to all my fuel fires, guys? I'm like, I had way more in this bag than's in here now.
Oh, no.
Somebody take it. And I was like freaking out. And then they were all in my backpack that I had taken out, put them in there. I'm like, who's stealing my fuel fires? And I was like literally losing my mind because it's like the only thing that I can actually eat in competition.
Yeah, we all had so much.
Because I have such a hard time taking down actual food. Like I'm just too stressed out. And so they've been amazing. Who else? Jesus, Virus. I've been with them since 2013 as well, and they've been amazing. And they like anytime I hit up Eugene, Virus, I'm like, hey man, I just need a pair of shorts. Like he sends them right away, and he's super awesome.
Yeah, Eugene.
Yeah, Eugene. If you're looking to hook up a team in France, Eugene, help us
Holler at us.
Ruble Roasting?
Ruble Roasting, man. God, there's just so many like cool companies that have been helping me specifically out, but the team too. Ruble Roasting, coffee company, now out of Northern California. Used to be in San Jose, but he's up north now. And their big thing is they don't roast the beans, which is like the process of actually heating up the beans so that you can use it as coffee until you order it. And so it's going to be less than a week old every single time you get it. And they say that you shouldn't buy coffee off the shelf if it's been roasted longer than 14 days prior.
Right.
And so it's like you have a 2-week window to get like the freshest beans possible. And this is the way to do it. RubleRoasting.com. Use code CoastRange to get a little percentage off on that. God, I'm missing people. I know I am. I'm such a jerk.
Do you do something with Ramwad?
Yeah.
Well, shout out to Ramwad.
Ramwad, yeah, keeping me flexy forever.
Swollen
Jeremiah,
Flexi. We got hecka swollen Flexi.
Yeah, we honestly, every night we were doing that stuff and after workouts and everything. So, and I've been hanging out with Jeremiah and working with them and Tiffany for forever. So thank you guys for just being so awesome too.
Drinking team.
Got
us our shirts.
Team. They hooked us up with somebody to help us get our CRSC shirts and do all the logos and stuff
Speaking
like that.
Speaking of CRSC shirts.
Matt, you're the man. Corey, you're the man. Kale, you're the man. Thank you.
You're all the men.
You're all the men.
We are in the process of making our next order of T-shirts. They'll be a little different this time.
Yes.
So keep your eyes out.
Awesome. They're coming.
Yeah, we're using our team motto. So it'll be pretty cool.
And one last shout out to Joe for helping you guys out in Brazil.
Oh my gosh, Joe.
Joe is the man.
We would have died in Brazil without Joe.
Dude, you should have seen this itinerary. That wasn't an itinerary. It was like a Google Doc.
It's like a Google Doc with all of the
3-page Google Doc
of
gosh. Like how to survive in Sao Paulo, basically. Like phrases. Where do I go? Hello, good morning, good night. How men greet men versus men greet women versus women greet women. Because so if men, we shake hands. If I was meeting a woman, I would shake her hand, but also give her one kiss on the cheek. And then if women are meeting, they give 2 kisses on the cheek. And like there's this whole, so that was awesome going into it. And then like where to stay, places to eat.
He was our main contact for CrossFit Moema. Like he hooked it up with that.
Priscilla. Oh my gosh. Holy cow. There's this massage therapist. Physiotherapist, Priscilla, who Joe was like, oh yeah, I hooked you up with this girl. She's amazing. Dry needling, massage, whatever you need. Like she'll be there for you. And we're like, oh, okay, cool. Not thinking anything of it. Like, she came to our apartment one night with a team of like 6 people.
Oh my gosh.
To like do full massage, like dry needling, cupping.
I've never gotten work like that before.
Brought in her like their tables and like their Normatex and everything. Then we went to their clinic like a bunch of times too, and same thing.
Novazi, yeah.
It wasn't just her going like, okay, I'll give you a massage. Here you go. Like it was like her and a team of like 6 people that were like working on us for hours and like showing up to the event. They brought a bus one day for us to go back with them to the clinic, but we just didn't know they were there. Like they had just shown up and they're like, oh, we missed you guys. We brought a bus for you. We were going to take you back. And like, they were amazing. So we're trying to figure out right now how to get her to come to France with us.
Seriously.
Because it was amazing.
Wow.
Like
I've never.
I had the second day final event on the worm lunges. I had a pop in my knee that happened that I've never felt before. And I thought I blew out something in my knee. I was like, that's it. I'm done. And was like super bummed out about it and went to her and she spent like probably an hour just working on my knee, dry needling, cupping, massage, every possible like implement you could possibly use, Compex, like Normatec, like everything, game ready stuff, and it felt like awesome the next day.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so I owe it to her for how I was able to perform.
I
day.
wanted to win for Priscilla.
Yeah, for sure.
Like we got to the last day.
I don't want to let you down.
And I was like, I want this for Priscilla.
Yeah,
because she was awesome. And her husband, they were awesome.
Oh man, they were so cool.
Yeah.
So if there's anybody in the Coast Range community that's from Paris or the area you're going to be that can help you guys find a B&B, Airbnb, or a hotel or whatever.
Yeah, it's actually Katie was saying that she knew somebody from Paris, I think,
cool.
too. So she was already asking me if we needed like places to go and stuff like that. So yeah, it's amazing. The CrossFit community is just so amazing. And I mean, specifically here at home too, you know, like every time we would finish an event and I would go back to my bag and where my phone was and everything, I'd pick up my phone and there's like 30 text messages and like all these Instagram, like, great job, you guys did awesome, like, you know, you're crushing it and stuff, and like from people at the gym and from obviously my family and friends and stuff like that. But yeah, it's like so much love and support. It was amazing from everybody. So thank you everybody at Coast Range,
Seriously.
everybody at Santa Cruz Central.
And CrossFit Up.
Yeah, CrossFit Up. It's been amazing.
Cool.
Yeah, it definitely takes a village.
Yeah.
And where can they find the team or individual team members on social media? Where they can find you?
At Westpite 2013 on Instagram, or at Coast Range CrossFit.
Okay. Nat
loves you 22.
And do you know Kelly Clark's?
I am Kelly Clark.
And Connor?
Connor's is Connor Schmitz.
With a Z?
Yes.
There we go.
SCHMITZ.
All right. Cool, man. Well, welcome back, and looking forward to watching you guys again in France.
Yeah, we'll see you in France.
All right, guys.